Okay, my name is Myrna Safitri. I work for Epistema Institute, that is NGO based on research on law, environment, and society. I got my PhD in law and governance from Leiden University, and I work closely with the civil society movement on land tenure issues in Indonesia since the last 2 decades. And now I am coordinating Indonesian CSOs for forest tenure reform. This is a movement of advocating and negotiating the ideas of forest tenure reform with Indonesian government organizations.
I think your English is fine. It worked. Yeah, we're good. Awesome. Yeah. And tell me about your work. How does it? What happens on the ground when you're working with people? What is the story of your job?
How to start this is very big. It's a very big and very difficult question. Okay, we work actually at the 2 levels. The first level, we work with the government by doing lobby and involving in the lawmaking, policy-making process. And the other level is we work with the academics and to encourage them to promote the social movement by producing academic papers and also to influence the academic discourse. And also we work with the CSOs, with the local NGOs to do empirical research. So we at Epistema work to link all the levels, how the empirical research can influence the academic discourse, and then how both can influence the policy-making activities.
Okay. How how are what is the current status of land tenure in Indonesia?
Now the issues of land tenure reform is very hot issues. I mean, hot issues in the sense that it's already buy-in by the government. And before, I still remember in the early 1990s and also in the early 2000s, it's very difficult actually to ask the government to openly discuss about this issue, even though it is actually the essence of the problems of Indonesian land and forestry conflict. That's because the assumptions of the government at that time that everything with regard to tenure is already clear, in the sense that the state control all the forests. But actually that's not true, because by saying that the state control the forest, it means that the state ignore the fact that community already in the forest. So now situation change and also regime change. So we have opportunity to openly discuss with the government, and they recognize that the government cannot manage this, the forest by themselves. So they need the communities. And in order to have our forests better, so the cooperation between government and communities is unavoidable, and then to do so, the recognition of the rights of the community is imperative. So now we are in the intensive lobby with the government, first to clearly and legally define the areas that the government said that could be the forest zones, and also to accelerate the process of the participatory forest gazettement. And the second is by encouraging the government to immediately resolve the conflict. We have 30,000 villages in and surrounding forest areas with very much conflict happen. So now it's the great challenge for the Indonesian government, for civil society to work together to resolve this conflict. And then third is by improving the livelihood of the people itself, because we cannot just say about the legal rights without practically help the people to get more or better livelihood.
What was the turning point? You said it was bad, and then it's gotten better to a point. What made it? Was it just hard work? Was there other things from the outside? The government, light bulb came on?
Sorry, I said didn't get your part.
What was the what created the change?
Okay.
That has helped things since the 1990s.
I think the change happened because of many factors. Yeah. The first is the freedom of the CSOs itself after the end of the new order of Suharto's regime. And the second is about the community itself. So in several places we can say that they can organize themselves better, and in many parts also with the facilitation of the CSOs. And the third is because the government finally realized that they have to deal with these issues because conflict happened and then they cannot resolve the conflict, and then this influence the investment. So that's the fact that they have to open dialogue with the CSOs. And then the last is about the international pressure, of course. Yes, because we know that the international movement of indigenous peoples also growing up, and also there are several projects such as the climate projects, RGD projects, that also encourage the national government to provide certainty in land tenure. So the whole things altogether influence the turning point.
How does RRI fit into this work?
So RRI has many partners that work in Indonesia, such as Samdana, World Agroforestry Center, and Forest Peoples Program. And I know that they work in Indonesia since several decades, so they know better about this country, and they involved in the movement and policy reform in this country. So with its partners, RRI work closely with Indonesian CSOs to promote the reform. And last year, RRI initiated and hosted an international conference on tenure together with our forestry ministry. So we can say that's the big momentum actually to rise again the issue of forest tenure reform.
Where do you see tenure reform moving in 5 years, in 10 years? Is there hope for more progress?
I think there is a progress, even though sometimes it's like a fluctuative, yeah? And sometimes it's like moving fast and then stuck, and then slow down and then move again. But I can say that the government has indicated their effort to support this movement, in the sense, for example, by providing several models of community forestry. But we still need to discuss about the basic concept of the forest tenure itself. I mean, whether the state, in this case represented by the Ministry of Forestry, should control all the forest zones in the sense that they hold it's like a legal rights of the whole areas, or they need to share these areas with the people. So with the forest zones, it can be consist of the state forest and then indigenous people's forest and then other other forests that can be allocated for communities. So it's still hard issues actually to make consensus with the government.
And do you think of deforestation, and Indonesia is one of the countries that they think about. Is that accurate perception? Does that help? Does that put more pressure, or does it hurt and get the government and everybody too defensive about deforestation?
The fact that we have deforestation is accepted by the government. So they recognize. You can see in the formal publication in the statistics of forestry of Indonesia, they provide the data about deforestation. So this is a common problem that recognized by all parties.
Do they see it as urgent? Do they see it as urgent, especially for the indigenous peoples?
Yes, they see that's urgent. So that's why they want REDD to be implemented in order to reduce the deforestation.
Okay. What is missing from that equation in Indonesia? How could things move faster if possible?
I don't want to say that's missing, but I think it's better for me to say that it's like an inconsistent and incomprehensive policy with regard to deforestation, because in one side the government agreed that okay, we have deforestation problems, so we need to, for example, to cut the emissions, etc., etc. But in other side, they also encourage economic growth by having a policy of accelerating the economic growth by establishing 6 economic growth corridors, so at the cost of the forest. And now, after getting protests, now they want to, they call this regreening the economic growth by promoting the idea of a green economy. But how to link in comprehensive way the two things, I think, still a big problem.
I think it's okay.
Otherwise, just permission.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And do you give RRI permission to use this for promotional purposes, to talk about its work?
Okay, but I think it's better if I see first.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I will give you consent.
Are you going to use it on the website, on the RRI website?
Oh, okay, but it's better if I.
We will.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Is it clear enough information?
Yes, very much so.
Okay.